Well, guys, one of the biggest reasons that President Trump won in November, Electoral College and popular vote, is because he embraced new media. I believe, guys, that things are going to be changing a lot more in 2028 in the presidential election. You must do new media. President Trump was out there on TikTok. President Trump was out there on Rumble doing podcasts. Also, he appeared on the biggest podcast on the planet. Now, everyone in the podcast game should really want to be like Joe Rogan. President Trump got on Rogan, and I just looked it up before I press record here on this video. It has 55 million views. 55 million. And it really wasn't an interview per se. It was a podcast. And President Trump and Joe Rogan sat there for what I believe it was like 3 hours long. I listened to every single minute. JD Vance is on there as well. That was also pretty good too. But when it comes to Kamala Harris and Tampon Tim, they did not go on Rogan. And I truly believe, guys, that she was never going to go on Rogan. And I was proven right. She did not go on Rogan. She really didn't want to go on Rogan. Even though people were actually saying, no, well, we want to go on there. We needed this, we needed that. They wanted Rogan to come over here. I believe, guys, truly deep down inside, they did not want Kamala Harris to go on Rogan. Because one thing about Rogan, man, that same day that President Trump did the podcast, it was up that same night. And President Trump doesn't do editing. He doesn't want any editing. Now, Kamala Harris, since she's so full of word salad, she needs things edited. That's why President Trump was actually suing, because that interview with Kamala Harris, clearly, guys, they edited out some stuff because of her word salad. This woman never had a shot to win. Never. But I believe a new standard was actually set when it comes to campaigning for president going forward. We are the media now, folks. New media. You must do it. Now, Kamala Harris went on some podcast, Call Her Daddy podcast. That was a Sets podcast, folks. A Sets podcast. I don't even know the host name. I hear that it's kind of popular, but the host is no Joe Rogan. She's no Joe Rogan. Kamala Harris, that was a big time failure by not going on Rogan. Now, one may actually think, since she would actually give nothing but word salad for the most part, she's probably better off not doing it. Remember, Kamala Harris actually tried to pull a Biden and campaign out the basement. But President Trump was everywhere. And once he was going everywhere, she had to go on Fox News. It didn't go good whatsoever on Fox News with Bret Baier. She got utterly humiliated, folks. Destroyed. And her people were actually telling Bret Baier, we got to wrap it up. We got to wrap it up. That interview was only like, 30 minutes? If even that. Now, if you go on Rogan, man, you're going to sit down with Rogan 2 hours at least. 3, 4 hours. She can't do that, man. And now Joe Rogan is coming out and exposing her lies. So let's get into it, guys. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, support us by becoming a channel member here on YouTube, or supporting us on Locals if you watch on Rumble, so you get access to our member stream that we have every single Friday. We're going to have one tomorrow. We appreciate the support. So here we go. Right over here, guys. Let's listen in to Joe Rogan himself expose the lies of Kamala Harris. Here we go.
We're talking about this. There was a thing that came out recently. There was a book. There was some book about the Kamala Harris campaign where they talked about her getting on this show. And they said a bunch of things that weren't true. They talked to, supposedly talked to like 150 different people about her and, what happened with her coming on the show. I don't know if it's 150. A lot of people. They didn't talk to us, and which is kind of crazy. And which is like, they didn't even ask. But they said things that just weren't true. One of the things they said that weren't true was that we lied about the day that Trump was coming on. No, we just didn't tell you that Trump was coming on. He was already booked a long time ago. This is how it worked. Trump was really easy to book, like super easy. We offered one day. He said yes. That was it. There was no, what are we going to talk about? How long is it going to be? Is it going to be edited? There was nothing. Yeah. What's the waiver? Here, give me that waiver. Sign it. It was so easy. So he was already booked. They never committed to doing the show. So all this talk, there was another thing they said that the reason why they did the Beyonce thing, the Beyonce event in Houston, was so that they could be in Texas to do my show. They never agreed to do the show. None of that's.
Wow. You heard it right there, guys. Joe Rogan just said Kamala Harris did not agree to do his show. But they were trying to make it seem like it since she was out here in Houston.
It's true. They never agreed.
That's fucked.
They also said that they sent someone down here to the studio to do a walkthrough of the set. That's not true. The Trump administration did. I mean, if they are trying to say that they, as in the entire federal government, well, I don't think the Trump, well, I guess the Secret Service is a part of the federal government. Maybe you can kind of get away with saying that because the Secret Service came down here for Trump and looked around that we sent someone down, but it was not. It was the Trump administration sent them down because they're the only ones that had a date to do the show. These people didn't have a date to do. They never agreed to do the show. This is really important. Even after Trump went on, they offered for me to come to D.C. and do a show with Kamala. But even then, it was the same deal. It was only like 45 minutes to an hour. And, you know, it was not on my set. And I said that, look, he did it here. We should probably do it here. Like, if it's possible to do it here. Obviously, when he did it, it had an enormous result. I'm willing to do the same thing for her. I wanted to release both of them on the same day. This was my goal. I was even trying to figure out if there was a way that I could do it. And I even offered to do it late that night. So the night that Trump came on, I'm like, what if we do her, like when she's done in Texas, if she came here? But no one ever committed to doing it. This is like really important because they keep pretending that I lied or I did this or I did that. No one, they never committed to doing it. Well, we went through, I've got a whole, we have all the receipts, by the way.
Of course.
I have a whole list of conversations that took place. They never said she was going to do it. So this whole idea that we fucked her over and then we fucked her over for Trump, incorrect. Just not true.
And she, you know,
but I think it's someone trying to cover their ass for the fact that she never did it, and if she did do it, it might have had a positive effect.
Yeah,
if her and I had a good time and we got along great, and she won over, you know, the air quote young male vote, things could have been different. Who knows? So this,
I highly doubt she would have won the young male vote just by appearing on Rogan. I don't think so. Even if it went well, I don't believe she would still got the young male vote.
Guy's probably trying to cover his ass.
That's what I'm thinking too, is because the reaction to her not coming was like pretty big.
But they didn't commit to doing it. This is the thing. While this guy's saying like that we were difficult to deal with, not true. We were super easy. We made it real clear. But also, it's got to be the actual real show. It shouldn't be some fake version of it where I'm sitting in a conference room. Also, they wanted a stenographer in the room. They wanted staff in the room. They wanted Trump was just in here by himself.
Yeah.
Just me, him, and Jamie. That's it. For 3 hours. Like, they wanted to do everything. They wanted it very controlled, and they were really concerned that it wasn't going to be edited. So I don't think they ever really were sure they wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Trump did not want the podcast edited. I don't think it was either. Like I said, Trump recorded it, and then probably a few hours later, it was up. And guys, it takes a while to upload a video to YouTube. And of course, you know, Rogan has it on all different platforms. There really wasn't any editing to that podcast. Probably just the intro, they throw in ads, and that's about it.
Then once Trump did it and it had this huge response, I think then it was like, what the fuck? What are we doing? He just did it. It's got 50 fucking million views. This is so stupid. Why didn't we do it? And so then there was, even then, when they offered to do it in D.C., my manager asked, is she committed to doing this? If I bring this to Joe, no, she hasn't committed to doing this. Have you brought this to her? Like, they wouldn't even say whether or not she had expressed willingness to do it or whether they were trying to convince her to do it. we know for sure there were some people that were supposedly on her staff that were against her doing it. They thought it was because it's a bunch of wokesters. They're basically in a cult. You have a like if you're willing to go on Fox News, you talk to what's that guy's name, Brett Breyer?
Yeah.
Where they cut that off after 20 minutes. When they did that, that's when I was like, look, it's got to be in the studio. It's got to be in the studio, and it's got to be real. It's got to be a real conversation. I had entertained a couple of times going to, but I was like, 45 minutes is just not enough. You and I have been talking an hour and a half already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's not enough time. You need more time. You need more time to find out what makes someone tick.
And that's probably what she was afraid of.
Probably what they were afraid of. Maybe not her.
Maybe
I don't
not
think they
her,
should
yeah.
have been. I think we would have had a good old time.
No.
Yeah, Joe Rogan, and right there, he's right. The JRE, the powerful JRE, is not the powerful JRE if a show is 30, 45 minutes. And he was right about Bret Baier. He couldn't remember Bret Baier's name. It wasn't even 30 minutes. It was like 20 minutes. It was like maybe 23 minutes, something like that. Kind of hard to remember. And then they were actually in Bret Baier's ear talking about wrap it up, wrap it up. Yeah. Kamala never committed to doing the podcast. Never did. Probably someone on her staff probably said, you got to do it. Trump is doing it. It's huge. Everybody's watching it. But deep down inside, Kamala didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it. She probably knew that she couldn't sit through 3 hours of talking. She couldn't do it. Wow. There you have it, guys, man. Kamala Harris is a fraud. And apparently 33% of the Democrats want her to be their nominee again. And that number's actually down, guys, because I believe it was actually like 40, like right after the election. It seems to be dropping. I believe that Kamala is going to fall off the face of the earth in politics. She's not going to be the Democratic nominee in 2028. Going to be curious, though, man, what direction the Democrats are going. They seem to be going the other way, definitely even further to the left. So no telling who is going to be their nominee in 2028. Yeah, gonna leave it right there, guys. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and White Network fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you next time.